Hello, today we are here to discuss Dice Realms, a new one from Rio Grande Games. So before we get into it, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down there.
Why would you do that, Randy?
Because you want to hear more about great games and new stuff and old stuff, because we go back all the way to 1960s games.
Yeah, we haven't hit the vault in a while, though.
No, I really am looking forward to getting back to the vault again. I've actually got a few in mind for the next ones.
Cool.
So, so make sure you stick around because you want to see all those old games so you can be, checking out old games like old me.
That's right. And welcome, Dave.
Yep. Hello. Yes. Here.
All right. So, Dice Realms came out in 2022. So, you just got it, a week or so ago?
Yeah, came out actually this week.
So, 2022, published by Rio Grande Games. Overall ranking is 6,093, which is not a surprise. It's brand new. Rated at 7.7. Designed by Thomas Lehman. Art by Martin Hubman and Klaus Steven. MSRP, this is a pricey game at $119.95. Card House has got it at $82.49, and I found it at Miniature Market for $89.99. Card House has got it in stock. Miniature Market does it, but Geek Market, nobody's selling it yet on the third party yet, so it's still that new.
So I would say, first of all, this is kind of a crossover between Dice Forge and like Era or Roll Through the Ages. Those two games come to mind, and it's a light to medium game. I would say.
I wouldn't even know if it's on the medium side. It's pretty light.
I would call it an entry level game.
Yeah,
it's slightly above that.
All right.
But all right, so let's talk about the quality of components. Now you get these nice storage mechanisms. They are designed with called trays. Okay, this technical term called trays that store all your faces of your dice. Now this is just one of three. The other two are just completely for the faces. This one stores a little bit of your cardboard as well. But they do a nice job of partitioning everything, and they all come with lids to keep everything in place.
And they stay in place. That's nice.
Yeah.
A lot of the plastic covers on these sometimes don't stay in place real well. So.
You get like oversized dice for all the faces that come off. These look very much like I forget what the other Rattlebones was the other one that had faces. There's the standard wooden shaped wheat that kind of looks like what you said, Bart Simpson's head.
Well, I didn't know if there was copyright. So.
It isn't now. And then you get, we talked about cardboard, some little wooden purple circles, cylinders, and more cardboard. Now there is, once we get to the rules, we'll talk about more, but you do get a little cheat sheet for how to set it up and how the turn order works, and a nice big cheat sheet too of them. They're much more helpful. That's really all that's in the box for $120.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
And this cardboard too.
Yeah.
So we don't really talk about that.
But cardboard. There's 35 of those, and there's a bag for random selection of them.
Okay.
So there is that, but it's still for $120. That's pricey. I mean, that's really all that's in there. I mean,
how many dice though do you get? I mean,
that's it.
This is all
you get one more black, one more white because there was a fourth player.
Fourth player, okay.
But that's
it's not like a ton of dice.
No, it's not a ton of dice. It's a ton of faces.
Yeah.
But that's that's really pricey in my eyes for $120.
It is a little pricey.
And given the fact that this is very close to Dice Forge, which isn't as pricey by any means, it's Dice Forge is about half the price. It's for the quality of this should be way better, and I don't think it's that much different than Dice Forge as far as quality.
Right.
When I'm thinking of quality, I'm thinking of price part of that. Price has to be considered when you're talking about quality. While the dice are nice and the cardboard is,
it's good thick cardboard.
It's good thick cardboard. It doesn't have a linen finish really. But I can't give it more than a 7. I don't think.
I think I can agree with the 7. I mean, I thought there'd be more dice than what there was, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But it's a neat game.
Yeah.
I like the idea of switching out the faces. And as part of its quality, a bonus is that it's much easier because they give you a little tool to pop the faces out versus Dice Forge where you break a nail or it flies across the room and then you lose the face.
And after you're done playing, you can use it to scoop a little ice cream out of your cup.
Or pick your teeth.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. Those, like when you're in the elementary school, they wouldn't trust you with a spoon.
Or the little taste spoon.
Yeah, they would give you a little piece of wood, balsa wood, that you scooped your ice cream out with. It made your ice cream taste like wood.
I think you're starting to show your age.
I know. Oh, they don't do that anymore, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because kids can choke on now.
Probably.
But I do like the little tool, and they give you lots of them too.
Yeah.
So
I didn't understand that though. Why did they assume you're going to lose like 40 of them?
Because people thinking about they try and eat ice cream with them or something like that. So they have to add the extra.
Idiots like me that might try to do that.
Or people take them and they use them for dice forge and just forget to put them back.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's right.
So I think I want to go just a little bit higher. I like 7.5 because I do like those tools because it's very frustrating dice forge. So
I'd put it at about a 7 for it being as expensive as it is.
Mm-hmm.
This game was, if it MSRP'd for what you can get it on certain websites, I would keep it at a 7. Like I said, if it was $80, $60, I'd probably put the quality of pieces a little higher. But for $120, I mean,
it's pricey.
Yeah, you're paying a lot for some cardboard and, 12, 16 at the most die.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a really nice Kickstarter for $120.
Oh, absolutely.
Fresh
I mean, I just backed the new Raw, and it was $80, and it's got much nicer components.
Yeah. So I just, it's hard for me to justify the spend, even though I didn't spend that, but it's still, I spent a good chunk of money for this. Sure. And looking at it now, it's like these pieces don't add up to that, I don't think.
You don't think it's worth the amount that you paid for it either?
Probably not, component-wise.
Okay.
I mean, when we get to gameplay, we'll talk more about it. But yeah, I don't feel like I got $120 worth of material for this. So let's talk about theme. It's completely layered on. I mean,
it is. I mean, as far as that part, but the artwork is nice.
Yeah, the art on the tiles is nice.
It is really nice. So, I mean, you got to give it some credit.
And the iconography is clear on all the dice faces. It's not hard to understand. And they did give you nice cheat sheets, which we'll get to in the rules. But
I don't get the realm part of it.
Yeah, well, the dice are in essence your realm, and you're building them up. You're expanding by adding more dice, and you're changing the faces to improve them.
But it doesn't feel like realm building.
No, it doesn't. It definitely feels like you're just improving your dice quality. But yeah, it's definitely layered on. You don't get a medieval feel other than the tiles.
Yeah.
That, for showing you what the dice faces do. So yeah, I can't give this. It doesn't feel thematic to me at all.
At all.
I probably have 5.
I mean, I can't give it any more than Catan. I mean, for the same reason. So I agree, 5.
Yeah, 5. I mean, artwork is nice, but you could change the entire look of the game and it would play the same. There'd be no difference to it.
Yeah, this could be sci-fi. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm. But it can't be The Simpsons because that would be copyrighted.
That's twice now.
All right, so let's talk about the rule book. So the rule book is 12 pages long, and it goes. There's not really a cover. It jumps right into kind of the explanation of the components. It doesn't really. It's not the component contents. It's kind of just explaining what they are and how they work. It doesn't really. Up here is where it gives you the contents, and it tells you what's in the box, basically. And the nice thing is it basically steps you through getting into the game. So the first game is designed, they bagged everything individually in the box, like your first game pieces. You only had to open those bags. I went ahead and opened it all anyway because it really wasn't difficult to segment it.
And it's you.
And it's me because I didn't want to have to put it together twice. So I went, but it kind of tells you where everything goes.
Up again.
Yeah. It tells you where everything goes into the boxes, which is nice, particularly the main one. This is kind of the prime board where you'll play with this every game. Then the other ones you may or may not use. But it explained how everything worked for the first game, which tiles, the tiles were clearly marked with asterisks to tell you which ones were the starter tiles. So I just kept those separate, put all the other ones into the mixing bag for when you put them back in. After this game, since we now know how to play, we can take those starter tiles, put them into the mixing bag, and we're ready. Yeah. Otherwise, if you followed the instructions, you would have then open the other bag and put the other pieces in.
And now that we played the game too, it'd be super easy to teach.
Yeah, it's not difficult at all. The 12 pages is probably excessive, actually. It wasn't hard to learn and understand at all. As a matter of fact, I taught you guys in just a few minutes without even using the rulebook, really. I referenced it a little bit just to get starter information, but if I'd known it was on here,
I think we checked it a little bit on iconography. That was it.
Yeah. But even that on the cards for the white face, the ones
it explains it.
Yeah, those are all on there, and the standards are basically on your cheat sheet. So I love those cheat sheets. Those are really good cheat sheets.
They are really good, and I used it a lot.
And they explain the cost of the upgrades and everything on there very well. It tells you how to reset your dice. I mean, it's very effective. And on the other side, it tells you kind of how to play a randomized game. And then on this, it tells you the standard turn, basically everything you do. And it's really a simple game once you get down to it. It's got some play tips in it, which is kind of nice. Didn't really read through them. But they have explanations of what the different buildings are. If you want to refer to them as buildings, they're really dice faces. And then the round.
I don't know if they would roll as well if they were actually buildings.
Yeah.
Be a little weird.
Yeah, it'd be strange.
Rio Grande does a really good job with rulebooks, particularly in the Elia series. This one is not part of the Elia series, but it's still set up nicely. It doesn't have the sidebars like the Elia ones, and I always liked, because if you put the game aside for a year, you can come back to it and just read those sidebars, and it'll refresh your memory.
I'm pretty sure if we put this game on the shelf for a year and came back to it, we wouldn't need the rule book either.
Yeah, I don't think it would be hard to learn it either.
No.
Especially if you just look at the cheat sheets. You probably can teach yourself without ever referring to this again. I'm going to give it probably a 9. I think it's a very well done rule book.
I can agree with that, because it was easy to learn, and you're barely referencing the book. So that says a lot for it.
Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 9.
All right, so let's talk about gameplay. So at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 2 dice, a black and a white die, and they both have all the same faces. They're all level 1 faces. You have 2 pink, yellow, orange, white, and green, and those they're technically buildings that they represent, but they also basically just represent, yellow represents your food, green represents victory points, gray kind of is your protection, and orange is your money. And then the pink is upgrades. So you're going to roll those dice, and whoever's first player is going to roll the event die. And this thing is typically going to be bad. 4 out of the 6 sides on this die is bad for everyone. And it takes effect before you get the benefit of your dice. Now, the only exception to that is sometimes when you upgrade, you'll get a reroll effect that you then can take the effect of that reroll during your turn before you get that benefit, then reroll it and potentially get that benefit again, because if you roll a face that has the reroll on it, you just keep generating it.
And the goal being is you can potentially block stuff.
Yeah. So there's attacks that can come from the event die. Anything with a red cube underneath the icons is an attack. You can also get attacked by your opponents, because some of the dice faces are attack faces, and you can get it. If they come at you, you got to have a shield for each one, and it's very reminiscent of what Era had or Roll Through the Ages. You can get these penalties against you from based on what your opponents.
And if you can't block them, they're pretty brutal.
Yeah, you can lose a die for the round, or some of them later on will destroy dice faces, and you have penalties.
Or you lose your food, and then if you don't have enough food to feed them, when it comes time to roll for that, you get negative victory points.
Yeah, and the die itself there's a feeding round that comes up on it periodically. 2 of the faces of the die are that, where you have to pay 1 food for every die that you have. And if you're short, you get negative 2 victory points for each one you're short that you basically are stuck with.
Right.
Happened to me a lot.
Well, only twice in one round.
That's a lot to him.
Yeah.
It is a lot. Nobody else got them.
Nobody else got them because we were planned ahead and we were wise.
You're just old.
That too. So, I mean, the gameplay of it is super simple. You roll the dice, until you finally stop, you get 1 reroll for free. Now, there are tokens that give you additional rerolls, so if you don't get a face you want, you can do it. There's also one that costs 4 coin to buy that lets you set the die to any face you want. And I used that once. That was super helpful. But yeah, you may not want to spend your coin though, because you can use that coin to purchase upgrades, which will let you change the face of the dice, or to buy potentially additional dice. And that was very hard to come by, because you had to get 5 coin and to have 2 wheat available to spend. And you want to make sure you keep a stash of wheat, so that if you ever have to feed, you'll have it. But getting additional dice was super helpful. Let me dominate the game towards the end. And it gives you, because you're eventually going to run out of things to upgrade if you don't get those additional dice.
Yeah, second to last turn, I had upgrades available and nothing to upgrade. So you run into that issue. So money management comes in handy.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, any upgrades you do to your dice are worth victory points. If there's 2 tiers of upgrades, and you get a victory point for the first tier and 2 victory points for the second tier of it. Then the game end is triggered uniquely in this, where you have a set amount of victory point tokens, a set amount of wheat, and a set amount of penalty tokens. And if any time you run out of those and need to get into the -10 or +10 versions of them, that triggers the end game. It doesn't matter if later on you able to make change on that turn and you didn't need it after all. Still, you're stuck. That's going to trigger the end of the game as soon as you tap into those. So I thought that was a unique way of ending the game. It makes the game super short. I mean, it's not real short. I wouldn't say
I didn't.
It was a moderate length game.
I don't think it was too short.
But it definitely didn't. You're never going to see a runaway long game of this, I don't think. Cause
I don't even think adding a 4th player would make it.
I don't think so either. And the turns are pretty quick.
Well, no, because it proportionally adds more back in.
But I mean, the turns are pretty quick. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just you're constantly moving.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
Now, with 4 players, you're going to have more propensity to be attacked. That's what, so you're going to see some, I think you'll see more penalties flying. It's definitely
this will get rolled in extra time. And so.
Well, not really. We're going around the table. It's going to roll every time.
This will be a roll. Right, true. But, I mean, it's 4th when it's not your turn.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is you've got to build shields, but now you're going to have to build shields against 3 people instead of 2, and not to mention the event die potentially. So yeah, I mean, this can be a brutal game. So it's definitely not a. It doesn't have a take that element per se. It's
not really
super impactful, but there is faces of the dice.
There's definitely tension in the game in that regard, and if you don't like being attacked, even if it's not someone attacking you, it may not be for you.
It's not targeting a person. It's kind of like Dominion, where if you play an attack card, it affects everybody at the table.
And it's the same thing. If you roll an attack, it attacks us both.
So I mean, it's while it's kind of a brutal game, it can be a brutal game, especially losing a die. It's fair. It's evenly spread. So from a gameplay perspective, I like this game, but then I think I've got Era. I've got Roll Through the Ages. I've got Dice Forge. I really didn't need this game. After I get, I mean, it doesn't add anything that I think is that novel.
No, I mean, Randy just said he didn't need the game.
I'm just saying.
That means you're going to get rid of it?
No, I've already got it now. I'm saying, if I were trying to decide, do I would need to go out and buy this game for $120.
Well, that's why. I mean, I think that's the point I was going to make. This game was fun. It's not $120 worth of fun.
No.
It's it might be $60 worth of fun, but not $120.
No, and especially if you already own those other games. That's what my point was.
And even getting it cheaper at Card House, I don't know if it's $90 worth of fun. I really don't think so.
It's a hard sell for that price. I mean, I'm really surprised they came in with that price point for this game.
Yeah, it's pretty steep, and for as quick as it is. I mean, the components are okay, but nothing super flashy. And
I have to think they're putting into the MSRP for this some of the shipping,
and that's certainly possible.
And I'm not blaming them for that.
Yeah, no,
but it makes it much harder to bite this bullet and buy it.
Right, and it might kind of even itself out. Where 2 years down the road, when we're getting used to higher cost games because of the whole shipping situation, assuming it doesn't really even itself out, we might think that it is moderately priced for what you get. But right now, I don't know.
From a gameplay perspective, I'm probably at a 7 on it. I think it was a good game. Don't think it was super exciting. It was fun, but it wasn't, I don't think it's an 8 level.
I don't think so either. I think 7 is a good. It's a solid score. It's a fun game. Just
It's a fun palate cleansing game.
Yeah.
If you just get done playing something that takes you an hour and a half, 2 hours, or it's got a lot of little moving pieces, this game is great. You just kind of reset.
right.
I mean, the box
Yeah,
is
it's not a brain burner. So
box is 45 to 60 minutes for one playthrough. I think we got it done in about 25, 30 minutes, and that's with Randy explaining how we played it. So, I mean, I would put this for somebody that's new to gaming, but not for $120.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
The MSRP is the tough sell of this game.
Yeah.
If it could come down, I'd be more likely to recommend it. But
yeah.
right now, for that kind of price, it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
that.
I mean, if you can find it at a good buy, I mean, you might find it.
Or if you get
know,
it for trade,
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a bad game.
No,
It is-
absolutely not.
And I know it's gotten a lot of really rave reviews from people before, before it came out. That's why at first when I saw the price, I was like, no way. And then when I started seeing people talking about it, I'm like, it's probably worth checking out. And I'm glad I checked it out. I probably should have played somebody else's first because I probably would have made the determination. I've already got those other games. I mean, would I have rather played this or Era? You know, that's a hard call. I probably would have enjoyed Era just as much, if not more. And I've got Dice Forge already. I don't really like Dice Forge, honestly. I mean, a lot of people do in the family, but so we play it a lot.
Yeah,
but
I like it, but in this, it's about the same level. As far as fun factor.
I'll probably put this above it. I would
You think
probably
so?
enjoy this more than Dice Forge, but then the price comes back into it. So did you give it a score?
Yeah, he gave it the same score.
Okay. Well, that's our thoughts on Dice Realms. So let us know what you think. You got the messages or the comments right below
Right,
there.
so-
Just you can
And
feel free to tell us.
if you thought it was much better, tell us why.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Maybe we missed something.
Because we,
We
do that from time to
can
time.
do that. So-
but I thought it was a fun game, but it's not great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all right, so talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.